Would you all like to see exclusive content, behind the scenes content, some of my bloopers, all of the funny stuff, all the stuff I really don't want you to see? Then tune into my Patreon. The link is below. Enjoy the show. All praises, Father God, Mother Universe. I thank you for this life. Today has been exactly what I hoped for. Tiffany was a ray of sunshine. I am thankful for her. Today I pray for peace in the world. I pray for love for all. I pray that the energy of love can supersede the feelings of anxiety, fear, despair, grief, hopelessness, shame, and sorrow. I pray that we can all return to love, and I just want to stay in a place of gratitude at all times. Light and love, always, always. Later. Hey, everybody. This is Rashanda Ife Payne, your host of the Painful Truth podcast. And today I am so excited and thankful to welcome my guest, Tiffany Copeland, director of Fitness Warriors.
Thanks for having me, Rashanda.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. So just a little history. I started with Fitness Warriors, I want to say I was in the 4th class.
No, you couldn't have been 4th class. I'm 4th class.
You're 4th class.
Yeah, so you're probably 3rd class.
I was getting ready to say, and I was the 3rd class because you came after.
I came in after.
Yes. So, and when you came on board, were you already employed with Fitness Warriors?
No.
I didn't think so. Exactly. So that is the beauty of this for me. I knew you started, kind of from the ground up, but I couldn't remember if you started as a Fitness Warrior or, just as an employee first and then you were fit. So, yes. So, Tiffany is a fitness warrior. Was a fitness. Well, yeah, you're always a fitness warrior once you become a fitness warrior. And she has worked her way up now, and she is the director of the program. And that's just honorable to me, I just love that for us, because it's such an impactful program. And sometimes, and this is just the reality of it, we don't always get to see us in, up here in these arenas. So I'm just thankful and appreciative of that. And you've always been just so gracious and welcoming. So, and I've always, no matter what, because one thing about it, my painful truth in the moment, I was telling her earlier, is just things that people are going through. And I feel like it's just taking a toll on people. Like, I just feel like people's hearts are heavy right now. Their minds are heavy right now. And I go in and out of that, and I've never, even when I've been going in and out of that, sometimes I become inconsistent when I go through those things, but I've never felt that my inconsistencies affected the way you all have embraced me. And so I have always been thankful and appreciative of that. And it means a lot.
Girl, we love you. We love what you do. The community loves you.
Yes.
Like, it's important that we highlight each other and lift each other up, but give grace, because you never know when you yourself are going to need grace.
Yes, absolutely. So again, my painful truth in this moment is just recognizing that people's hearts are heavy, that people are going through things. A lot of times they feel like they're going through things alone. Mm-hmm. And again, me doing this is to kind of show people that we all are going through something, but we just have to keep going. So do you have a painful truth in this moment?
I think I have several painful truths, but in this moment, I think that one of the things I deal with a lot, especially in my role as a director of Fitness Warriors, is imposter syndrome, right? Like, I'm a woman in the fitness industry, right? I'm a black woman in the nonprofit industry, so it becomes heavy at times. The weight of the crown, wanting to make sure that I'm leading the troops the right way, that I'm a good image for our community. Right. Especially since it's not a community I'm from, right? I'm not from Richmond. Wasn't born and raised here.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, no. Born and raised in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. My parents are immigrants from Jamaica.
Okay.
So I came to Virginia by way of college through Virginia State University, met the love of my life, got married, and stayed. So that's how I've been in Virginia the last 19 years. But there are times, when it's like time to get out there in the community and the people are talking about their high schools and
Yes.
I don't know what y'all talking about.
Exactly. Listen, you know what? It's funny you say that because I used to work in a salon years ago, and it was a woman. Her name was Libby Brown, and she wrote a book and everything. She used to have a furniture store in Cloverleaf Mall, and long story short, she was saying how that Richmond was kind of cliquish.
Oh, yeah.
And it is, that's a painful truth. Like Richmond is very cliquish and in all arenas,
Yes.
and you almost have to kind of work your way into whatever arena it is and kind of earn your place. So I can definitely get the imposter syndrome feeling, and not even that. It's just kind of one of those environments where it's almost unavoidable sometimes.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
As one of 2 Black people on staff as sports backers, that becomes hard in itself to try to pull myself out of you're just a token.
Right.
They put you here because it looks good for everybody else.
Right.
And not that I earned it.
Exactly.
Right. So finding myself, finding my truth, staying humble while still shining my light, proud of myself because I did the work.
You did the work, girl. I'm here to tell you earned it. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So what are some of the challenges that you do face serving a community that sometimes doesn't necessarily always show up?
It's getting them to understand the value when we're not asking for anything in return because the program is free. Right. Whether you decide to serve in it and be a fitness warrior or to be a participant and just show up to a class, there's no cost. And I think sometimes people look at that like it's low quality. So getting them to understand that just because it's free doesn't mean it's low quality. The majority of our instructors are certified, nationally certified by ACE, or they hold a certificate in the modality that they teach.
Right.
So it's not that they couldn't be doing it somewhere else. It's that they truly want to see their community show up. And when you put stuff behind a paywall, you tend to see less of us show up for it. One, sometimes it's the cost, right? Like, I don't know if I'm going to like this boot camp by whoever this person is. So I don't know if I'm going to show up. I'm not, and you're telling me it's free. So am I wasting my time by getting up and going?
Right.
So finding a way to break that. And really it's just been trying to take people along for the journey. Being more visual. So getting the classes and videotaping them so people can see what's happening so that we can help to build the movement in the community because realistically we need to move.
Absolutely.
It's killing us.
It is. Do you feel like that's part of the problem, just the fact that I don't sometimes think that we really understand the importance of moving, like the importance of taking care of our bodies?
Definitely.
Yeah. And I wonder, like, where do you think that comes from?
Sit down and think about it. How often, and I'm sure it's not everyone in the Black or the brown community, how often did you see your parents go out and do something physical fitness wise?
I guess you're right.
Right?
Worked.
We know they worked, right? So we know that we gotta work. That we know, right? We know that they took time to like celebrate and live life. We went to the parties with them. At least I know I did as a kid, right? Birthday parties for my parents, my mom's 50th, 40th. Like those were celebrations where everyone was there. So I know they danced. I knew they had a good time, but my mom never had a gym membership.
Right.
My dad never went to anyone's gym.
You're absolutely right.
Like, so we never saw anyone in our adult life prioritize fitness that looks like us. And the ones that do, right, they're all they want to do is make it to whatever, right? Whether it's basketball, football, track, like they want to make it to the Olympics. They want to be on the big screen. They don't want to just do it to be healthy.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're so
I think we have a lack of real life role models that we can touch.
That is so true. Yep. That is so true. We were talking earlier about the documentary Stutz that I mentioned. So I was telling Tiffany that it's a documentary on Netflix. It is called Stutz, and it is about Jonah Hill's therapist. And I feel like I feel like that's something else that we don't necessarily address in our community, mental health. And so if it is something that you have wondered about, I think it's a great starting point because it's so basic and simple. The tools and the ideas he gives you to think about with regards to your mental health and how you can do something about it yourself, that I just think it's a great place for people to start. I think it takes away just the fear of judgment that comes along with wanting to seek help. And but one of the things that he said, which I mentioned, was that being able to understand the aspects of reality, which are pain, uncertainty, and constant work. And so in that constant work, exercise is constant work. A healthy lifestyle, and incorporating that into that's constant work.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean? It is. And honestly, so. And I'll share more details later, but I'm going to be teaching a class again this year. I'm going to be returning as a fitness warrior. I'm so excited. And part of that, yes, I am. But part of that is because it kept me active. Like I loved serving my community, but in hindsight, I realized it served me more than I could ever serve them. You know what I mean? Like it did more for me and just being in a place. Like I feel like we are here to serve, period. Right. So if you can find something that you enjoy and put yourself in a position to do that, and then get a reward from it as well, like that's a win-win situation.
Double blessing.
It's a double blessing.
It's a double blessing for sure.
It's a double
Fitness
blessing.
is important. Exercise is important.
It is.
That's how I keep my mental health together.
Yeah.
And it's funny that, we talk about consistency, but that sometimes is the hard part. I know what it is. I need to keep myself sound. It's getting up and actually doing it and not making this excuse as to why I can do it later.
Yes.
Because later usually doesn't come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, for sure. And one of the other things that was really, it's like a triangle, and he says, I forget what it's called, but he said basically the foundation is the body. So the work you do for your body, the work you do for other people, and then yourself at the top. So it was a triangle, and so I noticed that you were at the top, but the foundation started with the body. And that also is very eye-opening for me as far as just being mindful of how important it is to take care of ourselves, this vessel that we use to experience life. I don't think we sometimes take into account how important the vessel is. And recognize that it is just the vessel.
Yes.
But it has to be maintained and cared for, so so the constant work is challenging. So let me ask you, with being in a program that is basically, your work is fitness, how do you incorporate that into your lifestyle? Or does it interfere? Do you separate your personal fitness from Fitness Warriors, or do you try to incorporate your personal fitness into Fitness Warriors?
So for me at this time, it's very much separate.
Okay.
And what I've come to find is that I get it fills my cup a different way to pour into the community than it does to just be somewhere and the only person I have to be concerned about is me.
Yep.
The only movement I'm worried about is mine.
Yep.
Is my form okay? Am I breathing? Am I moving?
Yeah.
And that time is the most vital time for me.
Yeah.
Is that time by myself.
Yeah.
So as much as I love pouring into the community and leading them in fitness, it has to be separated.
Yeah.
For it to truly affect my mental health for
Gotcha.
me.
Yep.
That's actually where I found myself to falter a lot this year. 2022 was not easy. I poured into many communities in many different ways, and I lost my own fitness journey within that. So I've been working to get myself back, especially with the new class coming in January.
Yes.
I want to make sure that I'm on point and I can actually show up as my best self.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is, so what is your, do you have a modality of choice that you kind of tend to lean on to feel you?
So my modality of choice is truly running. And I think it's because it forces me into nature, number one. Number two, because I like to distance run. Most people don't want to go with me, especially the kids or the husband. So it's truly just me time.
Yeah.
So running is number one still. And then anything with weights or any kind of body weight movement is number two.
Okay.
Love Pilates when I am in a space to slow down. I've also learned that through my years in fitness that the hard and fast seems to help me better here than the slow.
Yeah.
So I mix them up, but running as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how often do you run now? What is the goal?
Now,
let's say, what is the goal?
The goal is to get back to running 3 days a week, at least 3 miles a day. That's just the base. And then building it back up from there. You know, I've run 2 marathons. I told my family that it's a lot. It's a huge commitment to run a marathon. It's a lot of hours on the streets. So I promised my kids that I would wait until at least my daughter is out of high school.
Okay.
And
before you do another marathon?
Before I train for another marathon.
Okay. Wow. So it's that much of a commitment.
Yes, love. Yeah.
Okay. So what is the pains of that? What are the pains of training for a marathon?
The pains of training for a marathon, for me, first and foremost, is that I live in Dinwiddie, so I'm 45 minutes outside the city.
Yeah.
So if I opt to run with a training team, which are usually only in the Richmond region, I'm driving that 45 minutes to get there, plus the run, plus the 45-minute drive home.
Yeah.
And when we get up to 20 miles, you're talking about me being, yes, ma'am, 20 miles.
Whoa.
Yeah, when you hit 20 miles, you're looking at like, when I was at my peak fitness, 3.5 hours running.
Just straight running the entire time.
No, I ain't crazy. So there are walk breaks. I stop to get water.
Okay.
If I need to stretch anything, if anything's tight, I stretch. I'm by no means an elite runner.
Right.
You know,
right.
but so about 3.5 hours of running and then to add on an hour and a half drive both ways is just a lot to take away from the kids on a Saturday or a Sunday. Now my daughter's in high school, so she's a varsity cheerleader. She's on the track team.
Okay.
It's like my weekends are full of her, and little man's trying to figure out his life and what he wants to do. So as you know, as they grow, things just change.
They do. Every day.
Every single day. Yeah. So my husband said, it's just another year and a half. He'll be in 6th grade and his bus time changes then. Instead of 8 a.m., he gets on the bus at 6:30 a.m. And I have time between, you know, getting him on the bus and actually going to work. So I can actually do stuff in the morning again.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Wow, I did not realize. So, like, when you say you would run for 20 hours,
not 20 hours, 20 miles.
I'm sorry, 20 miles. Yeah, I'm sorry, 20 miles, right. For 3.5 hours.
Yes.
So it takes about 3. And are you training for a marathon that's 20 miles?
26.2 miles is the marathon. But the most you do, the training run for sports backers is a 20-miler.
Good grief.
Yeah, girl. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
But I'll tell you, I've heard the saying that if you've lost hope in humanity, go to a marathon, whether you're running it or not. Just go out there.
Okay.
The amount of support you get from runners that are running with you or just random strangers standing on the side of the road really makes you remember that we're not all trash human beings. Right. Like through COVID, George Floyd, it's been different amongst us.
Yeah.
And being back on the road, back around everyone that's just willing to push themselves to a new distance helps to reaffirm that people are okay.
Yeah.
Some of us, we're okay.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. I'm definitely going to come and witness one. I don't know that I'll ever run a marathon. But
Okay, well, you could do a 10K.
A 10K.
That's 6.15 miles.
Okay. And so what would be what is the maximum? So 6 miles is what you would train?
Yeah, but the longest run you do if you did the training team with sports backers, I think is like 5 miles.
Okay.
So it's not terrible. And people walk it, people dance it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll send you the code.
Thank you. Oh, goodness. This is on camera now. I got to commit.
The race is in April, y'all. She'll be back with an update.
Okay, yes, that'll be fine. You know what, though? I've said, though, a couple years I've considered, you talking about the U-Crops 10K?
Yep.
Yeah, I've considered it because it usually always falls around my birthday. My birthday is April 8th, and I've said a couple years that I should run the marathon, so I'm definitely going to give it some
serious thought.
Yeah. Strong
you put together a little training team of your own, get you a group of people that you enjoy doing stuff with, and just go out there and do what y'all do.
Okay. Huh. That is an idea. Okay. So, what are the challenges in managing volunteers?
I think you just used all of it. It's managing volunteers. Every volunteer is different.
Yes.
So some of them offer absolutely no challenge whatsoever. It's just
Right.
a delight to work with them.
Right.
There are others that will remind you on a daily basis that you don't pay them. So sometimes they feel like you're asking for too much.
Right.
I do my best to make sure that the expectations are out front.
Right.
I think the program does as a whole.
Yeah.
So I never feel like I'm asking too much because I'm just asking to do what the volunteer requirements were.
Exactly.
What sports backers, what my manager now like applauds me for heavily is that she feels that I pull people in more so than just a volunteer manager would. So like our friendships become deeper, or I'm closer with the volunteers than other folks may be. I'm personable. I love people, and I'm here to listen when people are hurting. Very much like you said, like when you were going through your time with Fitness Warriors, if something comes up, I'm not going to berate you because life happens.
Right.
I'm going to give you grace, see if we can figure out a way to fix or figure out the situation,
Yep.
and do what we can do that best suits you as a volunteer.
Right.
It's not a paid position.
Yeah.
I'm not holding anything over you. You don't have to show up if you don't want to.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Make a decision.
Yes.
Stick with it.
Yes. So I think that's sometimes the hardest part are volunteers that are halfway in and halfway out the door.
Right.
They want to, but they don't want to.
Right.
And they're wanting me to convince them to stay.
Right.
And I know that when people get to that point,
It's not worth it. Yeah. 'Cause
there's
you
only
can't-
one person that's going to convince you to show up for you or show up for the community. And it's you.
Right. Do you think a lot of people, or with your experience, so how long have you been in the director role?
So I've been in a director role for 1 year and 6 months. Prior to that, I managed a program. So I've worked for sports backers for 4 years in total.
Okay.
I came on as the manager in 2018.
Okay.
I think, of Fitness Warriors.
Okay.
And then I got the director role last July.
Okay. So within your experience, do you think that people come to the program sometimes with a different idea or vision of the expectation?
Yes.
Okay.
I've actually heard from several people. One person thought it was just a workout group, like a group of people that come together to work out on the weekends. They were quickly amazed that that's not what it was.
Right.
We've had people that have attempted to use the program so they can get certified for free.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to tell you it's the longest way to get certified.
Absolutely.
For free.
Absolutely.
So
I'm going to be honest, that was my thought when I first started. Not even necessarily, but because I've always volunteered. So I love volunteering. So, and I felt like it was, it was a win-win for, the community and myself, So, but I did come with the expectation that I was going to get my ACE certification. But once I got into the program, that no longer I never got it and have no desire to have it.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I have no desire. Fitness Warrior serves me well in the way that they allow me to pretty much be myself, to do what I enjoy doing, which is step cardio. And Fitness Warriors actually gave me, because I was a Fitness Warrior teaching step cardio before I was an extreme fitness, instructor with Phil, because he didn't even offer it when I started with Fitness Warriors. So, and I love it, so my loyalty to Fitness Warriors now is because of my loyalty to Fitness Warriors. But initially it was because I thought I was going to come in and get the ACE certification. Yeah. It definitely was it. But yeah, I realized though with that, I was like, whoa, this ACE certification, talk about the pains of that thing, just because it may be people who watch this and think that that's what they want, but I don't think people really understand.
So the pains of ACE is that for at least 10 to 12 weeks, you are stuck reading a book.
Yeah. That
I will be the first to say, had I just read the book, I would have never passed ACE, nor would I have ever wanted to be a fitness instructor.
Right.
It gives me the language to be able to speak to I don't know who.
Right.
And it probably would give me the credentials if I was looking to move into a big box gym, right?
Gotcha.
But none of those were ever
Right.
in my to-do.
Right.
It's not what I wanted for me. So to sit and to take the test, the first time I took it, I failed. I remember taking that test, coming home and crying.
Oh my
And then I got a phone call from Jackie. It's the same day I got the position as the manager of Fitness Warriors.
Okay.
So it all worked out in the long run. But once I got the position, it was very much like, okay, I need to, again, here comes this imposter syndrome. I need to make sure that I have the credentials to stand beside these people when we go into a training room, right? Like, who am I to tell these people how to lead a fitness class? Like, yeah, I've done it.
Right.
But who said that I'm worthy of this, right? So that first 6 months of being manager of Fitness Warriors, I studied for ACE. And it's a lot of time, a lot of book work, a lot of memorization, and not really because they ask you to apply it in the test. The test is not, you can't just read the book and then go take the test. You actually do really need to know how to apply these theories to fitness. So I would strongly say that if it was not for the Fitness Warriors program, I would have never passed ACE. Whatsoever.
Really?
And then when I passed ACE, it was just like, yes, I did it, right? Like I did it. I am now ACE certified, but full honesty. So what? So what? Like, it doesn't make me a master trainer, right? It doesn't make me some great Group X instructor. What makes me great at what I do is me doing it, right? The application, the practice I got in leading my classes at the Petersburg Library, the practice I got from subbing classes for others, because my first class was kids.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Jackie got me. She's you're gonna teach kids. I was like, why? It's because you like kids. And I was like, no, I like my kids. I like my kids. Like I did really, like their mom's really cool. I like my kids. Right. But it worked. Yeah. Because one thing about kids is they're brutally honest and they're uber excited to do anything involving movement. So they challenge you in every way. So I would train for my marathon, and then I would go teach my class, and I would be sore, and they're like, frog jumps, and I'm like,
that's what they want to do.
Man, let's get down on the ground and leap like a frog. But it kept me in shape, right? It made me do movements that I would not have done on my own. It forced me to get uber creative with fitness, because how do you keep kids entertained for an hour by yourself?
Exactly.
And I mean, the age ranged from, my youngest was probably 4.
Wow.
All the way up to 10. So it's like, how am I keeping a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old excited in the same movement?
Exactly.
Right? Like they want to, TikTok wasn't out then. It was something else.
Yeah.
I don't remember what TikTok was when it first came out.
Yeah, it probably was Instagram or something else.
So they were really big on those stories, doing them dances and stuff. And she don't know any of them. Yeah. So I won with obstacle courses because it kept everyone intrigued enough to play along.
Yeah.
From there, it's like I got ACE, and then I was just hungry for more knowledge, right? Because I want to be able to explain the importance of all types of movements. And for me, I felt like people get stuck in one type of fitness, right? Like I love running, and runners only want to run. And although people tell you to cross train all the time, you'll have runners that run so much that they're injured. And if you only just remember that there's a thing called cross training, and if you did it, it could prevent the injury because you're just overusing the same muscles when you do the same exercise all the time. So I wanted to be well versed in being able to talk about, I'm mixed fit certified, TRX, Pilates. Like I want people to feel comfortable doing any type of movement. So my last certification was RRCA, Certified Run Coach. Because again, I love running. Right?
That makes sense though.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
So I'm excited to see what fusing all of this stuff together for the 11th class of Fitness Warriors is going to look like.
Yeah.
The 11th class.
I know, that's so exciting.
Crazy.
That is. So how are you feeling going into the 11th class?
I have taken this week to really just try to get my mental together, make sure that I am of sound mind and body going into it. So I'm excited. They kick off January 7th. So I literally have 2 more weekends, and then it's
Yes.
Yeah, a group
What are
of
those
new strangers.
7-8 hour Saturdays?
Girl, yes, every 2 weeks.
Yes,
You remember
yes.
them.
I remember them.
Eventually they become fun though. Like
It
I remember
does.
it being so much fun.
It was. It was. It definitely was. I definitely got used to it. And I'll never forget, like, I think that too probably is what kind of sealed my heart with Fitness Warriors is that first class. And what is it? The 10?
10, 10, 10.
Baby.
That ladder workout. 10 jumping jacks, 10
Oh my goodness.
sit-ups, 10 push-ups.
Yes. I got to the end. I was the last one. But everybody just rallied around me, and like I cried to push myself through because I wanted to leave. You hear me? I wanted to say, oh yeah, no, this is not for me. I'm out of here. But I couldn't, and the fact that all these people that didn't even know me were rallying around me, it was like, oh man, I'm in, because you don't get that, like you say, it's hard to get people to show their human side.
Yes.
Especially for strangers.
And then that kind of energy, like you've just exerted yourself.
Yes.
Right? You're going as fast as you can, as hard as you can.
Yes.
And I'm sure for you, like you're looking around like, am I really it?
Yes.
And then all these people are just like, come on, you can do this.
Yes.
How can you not be reaffirmed? Like, all right, cool, yeah, maybe I can do this.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I got this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one part of the program I don't think we could ever get rid of because of that. Like it really does. It builds a connection among strangers.
Yes.
But it also helps to revitalize something within the person, the individual doing it.
Absolutely.
First or last.
Absolutely. First or last. Yeah. I agree 100%. Yeah. So y'all do that every first class.
Every first class.
A staple.
It has been a staple. And my plan is to continue it because I know how important it is.
Yes. And then y'all bust it out at the end.
Yeah.
The end of the class is what does it.
But I think it's a twofold thing, right? Because it's also, we're at the end. Now you get to really sit and think, well, shit, do I want to come back?
Right. Yes. Because that's it. That's going to make or break you. That's definitely going to make
Drink some water. Let's talk about what the next steps are. And you get to thinking these next steps. Like, I don't see these people for 2 weeks. Am I going back?
Yes. How often does that happen? People don't come back?
Attrition is real. Like,
really?
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's the 10-10-10 that causes the attrition. I will say that. Right. I don't think it's that. I just think that people get into it again thinking that it's one thing. Mm-hmm. Then you go through that first training day. You got to remember, other than the 10-10-10, you're learning about health equity, health inequity. You're learning about the why of the mission of the program. So it's like, if you didn't know what you were getting yourself in, now you have a clear picture.
Right.
Is this really what I want to do?
Yeah. That's interesting because I feel like we only lost like 1 or 2 people in our class.
No, 7th class, I graduated, I think 5 or 6 people.
And how
we
many
lost
people
like 4.
Wow.
Last class. The hardest ones for me is when we're all the way to the end of the training.
Yeah.
Like I lost several from 9th class in April.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's like,
interesting.
May, June, we're done. Like, we're almost done. But I will also say that 9th class was different. It was COVID.
Yeah. So, yeah. No,
2020,
totally
So we did half of the first beginning part of the training was completely on Zoom, which I've said over, I will never, ever do again.
Yeah.
I do not understand how people, like, even though I've done online school.
Yeah. Working out online, no, yeah.
It's not even the working out, it's the learning how to work out, right? So I'm learning something for the first time and I'm staring at a computer.
Yeah.
My training for RSCA as a run coach was all virtual, 8 hours, Saturday and Sunday, and it felt like torture.
I'm sure.
And I think after sitting through that, like even then, like I cut down their time. It was only 4 hours. There was just a disconnect. And then even as far as the cohort with themselves, there was a disconnect. Like they weren't close with their crews. They weren't close with their captains.
Right.
We didn't really know them like that.
Right.
So it was very awkward.
Yeah.
So I think that computer added a layer or a barrier in between us that
it doesn't work.
Not at all. Not at all. Especially not when you're trying to build community leaders, right? I need to make sure that you
can connect with people.
Right. Yeah. Extroverted enough to get out of your shell.
Exactly.
And talk to somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%. Let's see. So I think you touched on a lot of my questions surrounding just, being in that industry. Do your kids, so you say you like to, kind of have that space to separate yourself. Do you like to work out with your kids and your family at all?
I do.
Okay.
Baby girl just joined track.
Uh-huh.
Her dad and I both ran track in high school.
Okay.
So now that she's on break, anytime she goes outside to do a track workout,
Uh-huh.
we're outside with her.
Okay.
I know all her cheers. I would never stand up and do them, but as I sit in the stands, I'm the mom that's like, "Go girls!" And she does this whole like, "Yes, go Lisha." So yes. And then when they were younger, again, I taught a kids class, so they were at every class with me.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's where they kind of got to the point where it's like, Mom, I don't want you to lead me through this.
Right.
I've offered to coach things at school, and they're like, yeah, no, please don't do that.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Okay.
So I think even they respect that their physical fitness is separate from mine, and I allow it.
Yeah. So they do have their own little separate. Well, she does. So your son, he does as well?
So my son likes to roll around on my yoga ball. Yes, back flips, front flips, just does his own little thing on the yoga ball. When we're outside running, he'll come out for the last lap. Where he just takes off running down the street as fast as he can and then tells us how he's faster than everybody else.
Of course.
He does boy things.
Yeah.
But I have attempted to get him into anything and everything. I've offered all. He's like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I found with kids. As long as you just keep giving them, that's our responsibility. I feel like just to keep giving them something until they figure it out. Yep. Until that thing is like, they're like, oh, this is it.
Yep.
But that's our responsibility to just keep putting stuff in front of them. Keep putting stuff in front of them because ultimately they do have to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So.
And I need them to know how important movement is for life, intentional movement. So like you don't want to play an organized sport, that's fine.
Yeah.
But go outside and do something.
Yes.
Like get outside.
Get outside. That is a big one. That is definitely a big one.
Especially in the wintertime. Depression is real.
Yes.
It's dark.
Yes.
Find the light as much as possible. For sure.
Yeah.
So I try to instill that in them. I'm not forcing you to do anything, but just go in the backyard, stand there for a second, let the sun soak you.
Okay.
And then come on back in if that's all you got in you today.
That's it.
Or come on for this mile walk with me and the dog.
Yep.
Let's go for a walk.
Yep.
So yeah, I do my best to keep them active. I want for my kids to not have to battle the same battles I had to battle. Yeah. I don't want them to figure it out the hard way.
That's right.
I don't want no one telling them they pre-diabetic or high blood pressure. I don't want that for them.
Exactly.
So I do my best to instill it now.
Yeah. That's good. I think so. Okay, so I have my routine. I have questions that I ask everyone. So the first one is, do you have a morning routine? And if so, what is it?
So my morning routine, when school is in session, is not very healthy, I don't think. No. I jump up at the whistling of the alarm to take the first child on the bus.
Okay.
Usually throw on my little Fenty onesie and go.
Okay.
Let's get you to this bus stop. When I get back in the house, I usually want to take a second for myself. I'll make some coffee. Wait for little man to get up. Once he gets up and showers, I'll get in the shower. I love to play... it's a podcast I listen to on Apple Podcasts, and I cannot think of her name right now. She always says, "Good morning, God morning to you."
Oh,
and she ends the podcast with, "I love you. We'll talk soon." I'm always in the shower like, "I love you too."
Oh, yes. I love that.
All of 5 to 8 minutes long.
Who she is.
Oh, you know I will.
Yes.
I listen to that in the morning, and then I get myself dressed. Little man gets on the bus at 8 a.m. If I'm working from home, I can slip in a workout in the morning. If not, then I'm in the car on my way to the city.
Okay.
I'll try to slip in a workout later on in the day.
Okay.
But yeah, my mornings are pretty much go at this point with the kids.
Yeah. And when they're out of school?
When they're out of school, I turn the alarm off.
I know that's right.
I'll let the great Lord and the sunshine wake me up when it does. And then I maneuver that way. So again, either tea or coffee, hop in the shower. I'll listen to my podcast again. And it's all affirmations and positive meditation that she does in the morning. And then I try to figure out what I'm going to do. Lately, it's been a lot of allowing myself to rest because I
Good.
feel like I've been burnt out this year.
Yep.
So I'm not doing much in the mornings. I'll get back in the bed and turn on one of the streaming services and
Yep.
watch some show until I want to no more. I journal.
Good.
And I love, I have this little Rolodex basically, that I just write affirmations to myself.
Yes.
And I make sure I read through them.
Yes.
And write a new one.
Yes. Yes.
And go about it that way. So just trying to continually pour positivity into
Yes.
myself by any and every avenue that I can.
Yes. Yes. I agree. So what does specific, like a very specific self-care, what is something that is very specific to Tiffany for self-care? Like, what is something that is your self-care whenever you like are, you know that this can kind of bring you back or at least get you back to a centered space or place?
If it's not a run,
Okay.
like if I can't get outside for a run, because I have a treadmill and that doesn't get me anywhere.
Right.
If I can get outside for a run, it's that.
Okay.
If not, I am in the kitchen whipping up a bunch of herbs to pour into the bathtub with some Epsom salt.
Okay.
I'm turning that water on as hot as it can get. I'm turning on a bunch of oldies on that Spotify, and
Yes.
I am laying down and mellowing out.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yep. Yep. I think it's so important that we understand what it is that gets us back to where we need to be. And I think that's something, like you say, we didn't see our parents doing that. I know I didn't see my mom doing that. So it's something you have to learn and figure out and teach yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's to the point now where it's like, I look at my kids and I'll let them know, Mommy's not in a good space right now.
Exactly.
I'll be back.
Let me,
leave me a second. Give me a second. I'll be back.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think that, again, is from experience because we didn't get that.
At all.
And recognizing, I know for me, it was definitely me recognizing I didn't get that and recognizing that I needed that. You know, I'm an empath by nature, always been. And so really understanding that as an adult and understanding some of my feelings that I probably still kind of wrestle with as an adult from childhood.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, that self-care is so important.
It is so important. So important. And positive self-talk.
Positive
self-talk.
Child, grace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grace. Yes.
Yep.
So this has been wonderful. I am so thankful that you were willing to join me, willing to be so transparent, and just willing to share. Is there anything you would like to share with the community with regards to Fitness Warriors or...
You guys come check us out.
Yes.
Classes are free of charge, open to all ages and abilities.
Yes.
rvafitnesswarriors.org.
Yes.
You can find a class near you, or if you must, join us on Zoom. There's classes online as well. So
Yes.
I just want the community to know that you can get moving and you can do so without spending hundreds of dollars.
Yes.
We got you.
Yes. Yes.
We got you.
Well, thank you so much for joining me
Thank
today.
you for having me. I appreciate this.
Yes, yes. And as always, I will see you all in a couple weeks. And follow the lights, feel the love through the pain, and light and love always, always.